This is not a great start to the reading vlog. It was a very traumatizing experience. The chemistry between the two characters was so great. Hello, welcome to the start of my next weekly reading vlog. I've just finished filming my... I'm going to try and show you the chaos here. Just finished filming the March YA Fairy Loot unboxing. So there's a bit of a mess going on, and also, oh, my phone's on 5%. I'm actually going to take you to go and put my phone on charge. Okay, I'm in my mum's room, so so there's a change in background because I don't know where my own phone charger is. Yes, so this is the start of my next weekly reading vlog. I don't know what I'm going to be reading next. I just finished filming a weekly reading vlog where I was reading the whole of the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver in a week, or the final 4 books of the series in a week. So I want something a bit different. I'm feeling either fantasy or... I don't know what I want. This is not a great start to the reading vlog. This is my mum's bookshelf, by the way. As you can tell, this is where I get my love of reading from. She's got a very impressive bookshelf. And here's the cat. Hello, Ozzy. You joining in? It's very pretty. So, as I was saying, I don't know what I want to read this week. My NetGalley arc is The Poisons We Drink by Bethany Baptiste. I am still only about 50 pages in. I kind of focused all of my reading energy on finishing the Chestnut Spring series. And now he's walked in front of the camera. So my goal for tonight is to try and read a lot more of The Poisons We Drink, because I feel like I've kind of abandoned it and I don't know what I want to pick up. Because that is a fantasy, I kind of think maybe I should not pick up a physical book that's a fantasy. I just don't know what I want. I don't know what I want to read. I don't want to read another just like romance book. Maybe a kind of more contemporary book. I was kind of feeling reading a Taylor Jenkins Reid. I still have 3 of her books to read, maybe 3 or 4. I've read all of the sort of Hollywood books of hers. So that's Carrie Soto, Evelyn Hugo, Daisy Jones and Malibu Rising. And I've also read, was it After I Do? So I'm kind of feeling maybe picking up a Taylor Jenkins Reid that I've still got to read. So maybe One True Loves or Forever Interrupted. So maybe one of those. Honestly, I just don't know. I don't know what I want to pick up. And as a mood reader, that is very difficult because I don't even have a TBR to kind of pick from. I'm going to be trying to make myself stick to a TBR in April, which you'll see, because there's an important reason for that. That is the fact that I have so many books on my NetGalley shelf that have since been published since I downloaded them or since I was accepted for the NetGalley arc. So many. There's like 72 books on my NetGalley shelf and probably a third of those have been published and I own the physical copies of. So my goal for April is to try and catch up with that. I don't really know how. Oh, the cat's back. I don't really know how I'm going to catch up with that other than if I make myself read them in April. It's the only way I'm ever going to catch up. I've determined that it is impossible otherwise. So that's what my April TBR is going to be. And seeing as I am doing that for April, I kind of don't want to limit myself to reading a book that has to be from my NetGalley shelf physically right now, seeing as that's going to be starting next week. So what do? I'm also kind of thinking maybe a thriller, maybe sort of YA thriller. Perhaps. In terms of my mum's bookshelf though, it's looking great. She organises her books by genre and then by author. Obviously you can tell that I don't do that. And she gets very annoyed that mine are organised by colour. But her books are great. She's got some really good picks on there. She's got a lot of like cozy mysteries as well that I've bought for her recently. And she's got a lot of Philippa Gregory and stuff as well because she really loves Lucinda Riley. So we're trying to, now that obviously, rest in peace Lucinda Riley, now that she's obviously passed away, trying to get her a new sort of author that she can read a lot from. And obviously Philippa Gregory has like hundreds of books. So she's got like 6 of those, which is this stack in this corner right here. So what might be quite a fun video to do at some point in time, if my mum would let me, is to do a week where I read from her bookshelf, because she reads very differently to me. I've never read Philippa Gregory or Lucinda Riley. I don't really read thrillers unless they're YA thrillers. Oscar's literally staring you out. Can you see yourself? I think he can see himself, which is the problem. So yeah, she's got a lot of books that I don't normally read, so it might be quite fun to one day in the future or 1 week in the future do a week where I read from her bookshelf, but obviously it would be reading books that she hasn't herself read yet, so I have to ask her how she felt about that. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. But until then, I'm going to try and pick my next physical read, so let's try and do it. Cute. Attempting to move among the chaos that's currently my library with the unboxing I just did is not easy. Okay, so time to pick my next read. Let's pick some options. First one right in front of my face is my arc of One Last Breath by Ginny Myers Sane. I first read this author, oh gosh, when was it? 2021? 2022 maybe? With their first book, which was Dark and Shallow Lies. I really loved. It was so good. I think I gave it 4.5 stars. So I've now got the arc of the author's third book. I also have their second book as well, which I can't remember the name of right now. This is an option. I kind of want a standalone. I don't want to start another series, seeing as I just finished one. And I also don't really want to continue on with a series. I don't want to read another sequel. So as I mentioned, I've got a couple of Taylor Jenkins reads to read. Tongue twister there. Taylor Jenkins reads to read. So this is One True Loves. This was recently adapted into a film, which I don't think did very well. I don't think it went to the cinema. I never saw it, but it had Simu Liu in and also Philippa Sue from Hamilton. So I don't know why it didn't do that well. But this is about... So a year after these high school sweethearts' wedding, the husband goes missing and then he's presumed dead. So I think sort of 5 years later or whatever, the wife, Emma, has grieved, she's moved on, she's engaged to someone else, and then the husband comes back. He has not been dead, he's just been missing. So it's kind of about how you can have different loves of your life. So I think that's really interesting, and I really love Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing. I just think it is so immersive and so just brilliant, like actual genius. So this is also an option. It's not very long either, so a nice sort of quick read. How can I have literally over 400 books to read? Like actually over 400 books to read and not have a single clue of what I want to pick up. Okay, I'm getting annoyed with myself now. I'm just going to make it easy and actually just go with One Last Breath by Ginny Myers Sane, because I just don't know what else to pick up. I don't know what else I fancy reading. I do think I do fancy reading a mystery. So we'll go with this one. I say that like I'm not excited to read it, because I am very excited to read it. It's just because I just don't feel... It's not like there's one book that I'm like, oh gosh, I really need to read that right this second. But I do want to pick this up, so I'm not trying to act like I'm not excited about it. So this one is a proof edition. It came out last week, so on the 14th of March, which probably means I should get to it. This one, what is this one about? Okay, the synopsis. Mount Orange, Florida is famous for two things: freshwater springs, ideal for freediving, and the gruesome cold case murder of two young women 20 years ago. 18-year-old True has always lived in the shadow of Bailey and Celeste's murders, and as the summer heat ignites, she finds the girls invading her every thought. It's only in the shadowy depths of hidden Glen Springs that she can breathe. Then a stranger comes to town. There's an instant attraction between True and Rio, and they seem to have an otherworldly connection to Bailey and Celeste. But then someone begins stalking them. Could the killer be back in Mount Orange? True and Rio know that this time it could be their blood that makes the springs run red. I am excited for that. That does sound great. I remember that Dark and Shallow Lies had a bit of a supernatural element to it, which I think added to my enjoyment. So I'm excited to see if this one also has that. So I'm going to go and actually have quite a lot to do before I can start reading. My main focus is to continue reading a bit more of The Poisons We Drink, because otherwise I'm going to start to forget what happened, and I don't want to like not pick that up, because I don't want to get like disinterested in that book, because I love the cover and I know that the author's been going through a lot with the publication of it, so I do want to support them or her in that. So it's just that there's just a lot going on. So my main focus is to read The Poisons We Drink. Tomorrow probably, or maybe later tonight depending, start One Last Breath, and yeah, so we'll see. Hello, it is Tuesday. I was having a really difficult day yesterday and also kind of today as well. Like, my mental health has just been really bad, so I haven't really read much. I did manage to read about 100 pages of The Poisons We Drink, so I'm up to, I think, page 154 of that, and to be honest with you, I'm really confused as to what's going on. I think that I am not in a very good place to read, but I'm going to try and persevere. If I end up not enjoying this book, I think it's not going to be the book's fault. I think I'm just not in a very great place in my head. But that also means that I have literally read that much. So this is the start of the book, that much of One Last Breath by Ginny Meyer Sane. So what I'm actually going to do now, it's about 5 o'clock. So I'm going to go and try and read. I'm going to like put some pajamas on, make a cup of tea, and just like try and read for a bit, try and like actually get into the books that I'm reading. I'm gonna try and focus on One Last Breath because I do really want to read that, and I think that'll probably be the easiest thing for my brain to wrap around. So hopefully I will get quite a bit of reading done. I think also probably I'm feeling a bit burnt out from finishing the whole of the Chestnut Springs series last week. That was a lot to try and do, and also to read the final book in like 2 hours. That was extreme. So yeah, I will go and try and read, try and pull myself out of this low mood by tomorrow. I will check in with you guys a bit later once I've done some reading. to another pre-bed, sitting on the floor reading update. So I'm still reading The Poisons We Drink and One Last Breath. The Poisons We Drink, I'm now about 110 pages away from the end, and to be honest with you, I'm still completely baffled about what's going on. I think that I'm just not reading it at a good time. I think that when I started reading it, my headspace was not great. I am now feeling better, thankfully, but yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's going on with the book, and I think that that is because of the headspace I was in when I was reading sort of the first 200-ish pages. So that is unfortunate because obviously the cover is stunning. I want to support the author after the kind of publishing process that she's been through, how difficult that's been, but yeah, I'm not sure. I think that it would be fairer to try and read it at another time, but seeing as I am only 100-ish pages away from the end now, I'm going to try and push through and finish it, but I can't see that I'll end up loving it like I would have hoped to. I have seen some other people saying as well that the book is really dragged out, because I was looking at some reviews in case it was just me or if it was the book itself, and I have seen some reviews saying that the book is quite dragged out, that it doesn't need to be as long as it is, and that they also just didn't really connect to the characters. So it might be a combination of both it being me and the book, so maybe it's just not a good time for this book, but I'm going to try and finish that probably tomorrow. Don't think I'm going to read any more of it tonight, and that is largely because I really want to finish One Last Breath tonight. I'm 275 pages in out of, I think it's out of about 400 pages, so I've got, you know, about 125 pages left, and I'm really enjoying this. It is very creepy, it's very sort of tense. You can kind of feel the killer. So there's a serial killer in this who's stalking the two girls of present day, who are starting to believe that they are reincarnations of the two girls who were murdered 20 years ago. That's kind of only just really coming to light in the last couple of chapters that I've read. So I'm very intrigued to see how that will play out, and if it is the case. You can really feel this killer lurking around every corner. It's very tense in that sense. I'm going to try and read as much of it as I can tonight, and hopefully finish it either tonight or tomorrow, and then pick another book. I'm going to try and read some more of One Last Breath, and I will let you know how it goes. Hello, it is now Thursday, and I apologise for how absolutely horrendous I look, but it's so rainy outside and I'm not going to be going anywhere, so I just want to be chill and not wear any makeup, so that's why I've got such big bags. Anyway, I realised I never told you guys about what happened to me and my mum last night. So we were driving home from my nanny and granddad's, and we were driving down this sort of country road, and the car in front of us hit a muntjac deer. So car didn't have any way of stopping, so me and my mum stopped our car. My mum got out, sat with the deer while I was calling the vets, and she sat with the deer until it died, because unfortunately it was very injured. And then we were advised to take, this was at like 6:30, so all of the, you know, normal vets were closing, so we were advised to take it to the out of hours vets, and that they might be able to arrange a communal cremation for it. So we put this big deer in our boot of our car. We drive for 20 minutes to the out of hours vets, only to get there and they tell us that they can't take it because it's dead. If it was alive, then they'd take it because they'd have to give it medical treatment, but because it's dead, there's nothing they can do. So we are now left with a deer in the boot of our car. We don't know what to do with it. The vet tells us to leave it in a grass verge and like call the council, but we didn't want to do that because, you know, it's not very dignified for the deer, you know, it's not like it asked to be killed. So we take it to a different country road and we put it in, you know, the kind of a different grass veg, like out of sight, where it can go back to nature. And yeah, it was really traumatic. It was a very traumatizing experience. Would not recommend. I mean, it wasn't the guy who's hit it fault, like the muntjac just ran out in front of him, there was no way he could stop. But yeah, we had to essentially lay a muntjac deer to rest, and it was really, really sad and really traumatizing. So that was the story time of yesterday evening. Yes, that was not fun. In other news, in a slightly more cheerful, I guess, tone, I have finished One Last Breath. I finished it this morning. I really ended up enjoying it. I didn't enjoy it as much as the author's first book, which was Dark and Shallow Lies, but I did enjoy it a lot, and I felt like the twists were coming, you know, thick and fast during the end, and I liked how you were kept guessing right up until the end. So literally right up until the sort of last 20 pages, you don't even really know who the killer is. So I really enjoyed that aspect, even if it was a bit predictable. I think pretty much about 70 to 100 pages from the end I was starting to guess who the killer was going to be, and I was right, but I was also wrong in a sense because of the reasons for it. So I did really enjoy this, and I would highly recommend Ginny Myers Sane's mysteries if you are sort of getting into reading or getting into reading mysteries. I think that these are really great ones to get you started, especially if you're coming from being a fantasy reader, because these do have a slightly supernatural element to them. One thing that I will say about this book is that the kind of supernatural element isn't ever really explained, so you don't really understand why these two girls are reincarnations of the two girls from 20 years ago. So I do think that that could have been developed better, but obviously it wasn't the entire focus of the story. The main focus was obviously catching the killer. So I would really recommend Ginny Myers Sane's books if you are into your mysteries or you're looking to get into mysteries. I think these are a great place to start as well. So what am I going to read next? This is probably going to be, whatever I pick next, depending on how big it is probably going to be my last physical read of March. And I don't know whether I want to try and pick a book that I think is going to be 5 stars to kind of round out the month. Obviously I had 3 5-star reads sort of around the beginning of the month. I had Anxious People, Funny Story and My Throat, an Open Grave, but I haven't had any 5-star reads since then. So I don't know whether to try and pick one I think is going to be a 5-star read, even though I'm not entirely sure what I'm in the mood for. I feel like this is kind of the theme of this vlog, is me not knowing what I'm in the mood for. I think I also find that towards the end of the month sometimes, is that I feel the kind of pressure of it being towards the end of the month and thinking, okay, I need to like hurry up and read some more books before the end of the month to count them, even though obviously they would just count towards the next month if I didn't finish them. I don't know. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to spin my Wheel of Fortune to find out, because I just don't know what I want to pick up. Welcome to a kind of sunset moment reading update. Okay, so first of all, last night I finished The Poisons We Drink by Bethany Baptiste. That was unfortunately a bit of a letdown for me. I've decided to give it 3 stars because I can't entirely work out if it is just a me thing or if it is both a me and the book thing. I obviously started it, you saw, on a day when my mental health was pretty bad, and I read the majority of it during a kind of bad couple of mental health days, so that obviously hasn't helped the situation, but at the same time I've seen reviews where it does talk about how it drags, and you know, even when I was in a better place mentally, I couldn't work out what was going on in the book. I was very confused as to the kind of characters and the magic system, and unfortunately that just meant it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me, which is really unfortunate because, as I discussed, I wanted to be able to promote this book with the author's publishing journey in mind, with how difficult it's been for the author to publish this book. But some books just don't work for you. That's just life. So, my physical read, which you saw me pick out yesterday, is... I've taken the dust jacket off, but it is A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. This is the very, very pretty and very shiny Fairy Loot edition with stunning rune edges. I am 88 pages into this and really enjoying it. This is set in Viking times, I believe, and it follows a girl called Freya, who is the Shield Maiden. So she has been blessed by, I'm going to pronounce this really wrong, but the goddess Helen. She's basically the subject of a prophecy which states that whoever is in control of her will win the war. So there's sort of wars going on between clans, and I think that whoever wins will sort of become the king. So whoever has control of the Shield Maiden will win and become king. So I'm really enjoying this. She's gone to where this king, who's prophesied to be, is living, and she has basically had to become his second wife so that he has control of her. But there is also kind of, you know, hinting a bit of romance with his son. So this king, Snorri, which is a really weird name. Every time I read it, it kind of takes me out of the book because I'm like, I've never seen a name like that before and I don't really know how to pronounce it properly. But he is a lot older than Freya, and he has a son called Bjorn, and Freya and Bjorn have a little bit of a chemistry going on. So I'm excited to see how this goes. I know that Danielle L. Jensen is kind of beloved for her romantasy books. She's got the Bridge Kingdom series, of course, and I've never read those, but I'm really interested to now, especially after starting this. And the next NetGalley book that I'm going to read is Fathom Folk by Eliza Chan. That is another adult fantasy, and that is following... It's sort of set in a submerged city, and the humans live in the skyscrapers, and the Fathom Folk, so the sort of water dwellers, so you've got sirens, sea witches, all of those, they live in the polluted water below, and I believe that there's going to be some sort of uprising, so I'm really excited to start that, and the cover is absolutely stunning. You may have been wondering what this little badge that I'm wearing is, but yeah, I was very kindly sent this cute little Lady Macbeth badge, and that came with a very exciting envelope, which, as you can see, says Dear Millie, and I honestly gasped out loud when I saw this. So this is a little invitation, and it says, "You are cordially invited to the joining of Lord Macbeth, son of Findlay, and the Lady Rosilla of Bryce, to be henceforth known as Lady Macbeth." And it came with one of the most exciting proofs I've ever seen, and that is Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid. Oh, and I didn't even know this, it came with a Lady Macbeth bookmark, and this is just stunning. This is absolutely incredible. So this is coming out in August, and this is Ava Reid's latest book. She is the author of A Study in Drowning, which was one of my top 5 reads of last year, and all I know is that this is a reimagining of Lady Macbeth, so obviously one of Shakespeare's most famous villains, and it says that reimagining of Lady Macbeth, giving her a voice, a past, and a power that transforms the story men have written for her. I am so excited for this, and I also know that my friend Violet will be very jealous of this, and yeah, absolutely amazing. And such a cute little package as well, to have the little badge, to have the book and bookmark and the badge, and then to have that cute little envelope. Love. So thank you very, very, very much to the publisher. I'm absolutely thrilled and really being blinded by the sun right now. Yeah, I'm being severely blinded, so I'm going to try and block the sun like this. And yeah, I am going to go and read some more of Fate Inked in Blood. I mean, come on. It's like casting gold around my room right now. That is so stunning. Very excited. Very happy with Lady Macbeth. And especially because it was a very, very chaotic day at work. It was Good Friday, so obviously everyone else is on holiday. And yeah, it was not chill. So I'm ready to get my pajamas on and chill. So, I don't really have any reading updates in terms of A Fate Inked in Blood. I have read a bit more. I've read about 50 pages more, so I'm now 147 pages into this, and I'm really enjoying it so far. It's got a very different plot to kind of what I was expecting. I don't think that I'd really read that much about this book before starting it, but it's definitely, I'm really loving the magic system that's included in here. So with all of the various Norse gods, I don't really know that much about Norse mythology. It's not the kind of mythology that I was that obsessed with as a kid. I was always much more Greek mythology. So, you know, hand me a Greek mythology book and I could tell you about pretty much any deity in Greek mythology, and possibly even in Roman mythology, but Norse mythology I don't really know that much about. So in terms of the various gods that have been mentioned in here, we've got Hlyn, which I still don't know if I'm saying right. We've got Tyr. I'm gonna like put the names somewhere on the screen because I don't know if I'm saying them right at all. But essentially in this, if you when you were born were blessed with a drop of the god's blood, you are essentially unfated. So you are basically free to choose your own destiny, which sounds great. But obviously, because you've got the power of the gods, you also have to kind of comprehend that into your life. Like, you are obviously going to be sort of hunted and life's going to be a bit more dangerous, even though you can kind of choose what you want to do with your life. So I'm really enjoying that aspect, and I think that Bjorn and Freya have a really great dynamic. They're really, really funny together. Bjorn is hilarious. Like, he is such a funny character, and I'm really enjoying getting to see how Freya's kind of learning about her power as we go through the book. So she's kind of suppressed her power for a decade since she first discovered that she had it, because of the whole prophecy about the Shield Maiden being controlled by the future king, and so she doesn't really know how to control her power at all. So I'm really enjoying getting to learn about her power alongside her, and I'm feeling like this is a good one. I've also now started my NetGalley read, which is Fathom Folk by Liza Chan. I'm about 10% into that, and in this one we have two main characters. We've got Mira and Naomi, and Mira is, I'm not sure what kind of sea creature kind of thing that she is, but she has essentially become the captain of a certain regiment or something in the city, and she's hoping to be able to enact change for the Fathom Folk with her new role, because the Fathom Folk are really looked down upon by humans who live in skyscrapers, and they make the Fathom Folk like live in the polluted waters down below, even though the humans were the ones who caused the polluted waters and caused Fathom Folk to have to flee their homes and stuff. So, you know, classic humans. So we've got her perspective, and then we've also got Naomi, who is a water dragon. So she can shift into a sort of humanoid body as well, but she is a water dragon, and in her first chapter she is trying to steal a dragon pearl from her mother, and she gets caught, and she is exiled to the city where Mira is, which is called Tiankawi, I believe, and she's really unhappy about this. Obviously she doesn't want to go there, so I'm intrigued as to how that's going to play out. I really enjoy getting to see all of the different sea creatures in this. So you've got people who've got like crocodile skin, or who are sort of kelpies, or who have octopus tentacles and stuff, so that's really a fun aspect that I'm liking about this. Although I am seeing that there's a lot of paragraphs where we're getting a lot of detail that is really not necessary, like paragraphs upon paragraphs describing all the food on the table or what people are wearing, and while that's great, I'm not sure that we need all of that. Cut it down a little bit, so see how that goes. And yeah, I am going to go and do my skincare and then read some more of Fate Inked in Blood, because I'm hoping that this, I'm not sure that I'll finish Fathom Folk before the end of the month, even though that is shorter than this one. I'm finding this one to be quicker to read, and I'm hoping that A Fate Inked in Blood will be my final read of March, and then that will mean that I will have read 50 books from January until March. So I feel like that's quite a nice round number to end the month on. So hoping to be able to read some more of this tonight. So we will see. So I'm going to wrap up my reading vlog here because this morning I finished A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen, and this is going to be my final read for March. I know I'm not going to finish Fathom Folk before the end of today, so that's why I'm going to wrap up this vlog here and start a new vlog tomorrow for the 1st of April. A Fate Inked in Blood was so good. I cannot even explain how good it was. I was not expecting to love it as much as I did, and this was actually my first Danielle L. Jensen, so I'm really excited to pick up more of her books, especially the Bridge Kingdom series. This one, oh, the chemistry between the two characters was so great, and I also just really loved the magic system in here with the Norse mythology involved, and the ending. I was shook. I need the next book now. So in this vlog I finished 3 books, which is probably the least amount that I finished in a vlog so far, blaming it on the kind of stint of bad mental health that I had at the start of the week, and also on my NetGalley reads being kind of slow. The first book I finished in this vlog was One Last Breath by Ginny Myers Sane. I rated this 4 stars in the end and really enjoyed it. I would highly recommend Ginny Myers Sane's books if you're looking to get into YA mysteries. These are a really great place to start, especially if you are coming as a fantasy reader, because these do have a supernatural element to them. The second book that I finished was The Poisons We Drink by Bethany Baptiste. I rated this 3 stars. I think this suffered both from my own personal mood at the time of reading it, and also it just dragged quite a bit. It was quite slow, and I just feel like it was a lot more political than focusing on the magic system of potions, which I think would have helped if we'd had just a bit more of that. And the final book that I finished was A Fate Inked in Blood. I've ended up giving this 4.75 stars, but it might end up turning into 5 stars. Not entirely sure at the minute because obviously I only finished it a couple of hours ago, so it's kind of a preliminary rating, but I really love this and would highly recommend. I am still in the middle of reading Fathom Folk by Eliza Chan, but that's going to end up going towards my April reads now because I know I'm not going to finish it tonight. Where am I? I'm about 20% in, and it's not as kind of whimsical as I was hoping it would be, you know, based on the cover. The cover is really stunning and really whimsical and really reminds me of The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axio. So I think perhaps my expectations going in have been a bit misplaced, but I'm still going to give it a chance, still going to keep going with it, and hopefully things will turn themselves around. So thank you very much for watching this vlog. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Like this video if you liked it and subscribe if you want it, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye!